today's episode, we've got Mr. Adam Hall.
Around a year and a half into the business, we had lost, I think, around $200,000 in the business. Where did that $200,000 come from? It came from not paying our tax bill.
He's an Australian born and bred entrepreneur. He's running a fence company in Queensland and now recently expanded to Melbourne.
Running a business in Australia is tough and it just continues to get harder and harder, and you've just got to be so good to make it, you know, and that's why so many businesses fail. And we're super transparent about everything in the business, and I think a lot of business owners are very scared to do that.
You guys post it on bloody social media.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
What's the hardest part about growing a fencing company or a construction company?
The more context your staff have, the better decisions they can make. We want to continue growing AH Fencing until we're in every major city in Australia and exceed $100 million in revenue.
What would be your single best advice?
Every problem in the business stems from you.
Oh, that's powerful. And it's actually very true. Good to have you.
Thank you, man. Thanks for having me. And yeah, I think we're going to have a lot to talk about because, you know, small business in Australia, small to medium business it's tough.
Medium
business, medium company.
Your company's like medium, right?
I think so. I mean, like, there's a few things they do to qualify if it's a medium business.
10 million revenue above.
Yeah,
usually is the definition.
Yeah, we'll do 30 million this year and 60 staff. So
congrats.
Yeah.
Fucking congratulations.
Yeah, thank you, man. Yeah.
Wow. Like how many people?
60
staff,
people.
Yeah. 60 on ground?
Yeah, 60 onshore.
No, as in like admin staff as well. Is it
40 labour staff, 20 admin staff.
Okay.
And then we've got a team of 10 or so offshore.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. No, let's start. Let's go from the beginning. Like, who are you? Who is Mr. Adam Halls? Where did you come from? Like, you know, the I guess it's like the year 9 English stuff. Like, you know, who, what, when, where, why.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, look, similar to you, right? Like I didn't grow up well off. You know, I was in sort of middle income family. Like mum and dad both were government workers and worked really hard to try and provide a good life for us. So yeah, was definitely not well off or come from money in any way. But I've always been a really driven person and very competitive my entire life. And so anything that I've ever done, I've always been, you know, trying to be the very best that I can be at it.
You look like you do sports.
Yeah, I go to the gym now. Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, go to the gym. It's a regular thing. And that's part of like, I want to be the very best version of myself that I can be, you know, and that's that competitive drive. And it's not just always competition, you know, I'm so uncomfortable sitting still in like any way you can take that, you know, like sitting still here today for an hour podcast is tough, but also sitting still in life, you know, like I become quite miserable. So I've just always been very driven at what I do. And so like, you know, naturally I've been driven towards owning a business and being an entrepreneur. I feel like I've always been an entrepreneur basically since I left school. I've only ever worked for another company as an employee once, and it was only for a year, and I hated it. And so, you know, business is like this never-ending journey of goal setting and personal development. And so for someone like myself who just loves growth and loves moving forward and growing, it's like the perfect place to be. So
did you graduate high school? Did you go into uni or anything like that, or trade school or anything like that?
Funny that you asked that. No, I didn't graduate high school. I dropped out in grade 11. So like, I guess a bit of a backstory. My family was quite musical, and so I grew up in a very musical family, playing music my whole life, and that was going to be my career path. So I actually...
That's a fucking big change.
Yeah.
What?
I actually auditioned for music university at the end of grade 11 and got accepted into the Conservatorium of Music in Queensland.
Wow.
And so I dropped out of school after grade 11 and went to music university when I was 17 years old. And then after a year there, I sort of realized that this wasn't really my passion and what I wanted to do with my life. And I dropped out after a year. And I sort of felt a bit lost, to be honest, after that, because I'd been working my whole life towards this one goal of you know, having music as my career. And then I didn't know what to do. And I was dating a girl at the time, and her dad happened to be a fencer, and he needed a labourer to help him out during the summer. And I didn't have a job and I didn't know what I was doing. So I thought like, oh, look, I'll put my hand up and I'll go work with you for a few months. And I hated it. It sucked.
Wait, is this the only job that you've ever had?
No, I've also been a personal trainer as well.
Okay.
So like, yeah, there's parts to it, but that's how I got into fencing, I guess. And again, like just being a driven person, I labored for him for a little while. And then I became a subcontractor for a larger company, which was like the first taste of me starting my own business and having an ABN. And working out what the tax code meant and hiring employees and all that sort of stuff. And I sort of got that going to a point where I was making quite a good wage from it, I suppose.
How much? Can you go into details?
I think at the time I was making like 120 grand a year, and I was 22 years old or something.
That's not bad.
Yeah, and so I felt like I was living quite comfortably, but I sort of stagnated, and I became like quite miserable doing the role that I was in. And so at the time, I didn't have the self-awareness to realize that that was the reason that I was unhappy. I just thought that I was unhappy in the trade that I was in. And so that's when I moved across to being a personal trainer. I was like, this isn't my passion. Fencing's not my passion. I love going to the gym and I love helping people, so I'm going to be a personal trainer. And I found a lot of fulfillment in doing that. I became a personal trainer for 2 years. And I realized during that what I actually loved about it was not the personal training itself. It was the fact that I was moving towards a goal again, and I was actually trying to achieve something bigger than what I had. And so that was where I actually found a lot of fulfillment. And the same thing sort of happened in personal training. I got to a point where I had a full calendar of clients, and I started to become, depressed and miserable again around it. And that's when it sort of clicked for me. It's like, I actually didn't hate fencing. I hated the fact that I'd stagnated and I wasn't pushing myself towards any future goals. And fencing had always paid me more money. So I made the choice to go back into fencing and not sort of stop this time at just having a couple of employees. I wanted to just keep going and see how far we could take it. And that's when I approached my best mate, who I've been mates with since I was 7 years old, who was also in the fencing space. We've sort of done everything together our whole lives, and said, do you want to start a business with me? We'll give it a crack ourselves. And he said, yeah. And we had no business experience at all. We were just two tradies at the end of the day, but we had a lot of drive, and we were willing to learn and put the work in. And we found out very quickly, around a year and a half into the business, we had lost, I think, around $200,000 in the business, and we didn't have any money to start with. So where did that $200,000 come from? It came from not paying our tax bill. And then the ATO garnished our account one morning, which means garnishing is they emptied our bank account down to $0. And that was a wake-up call that we needed to go, okay, we need to get our asses into gear. This is serious. We're on the verge of bankruptcy. And our accountant at the time was like, you guys have to get a business coach. There's a group over here that specializes in coaching trades businesses. So I recommend you going to them. And at the time that was...
name drop.
They're called Pro Trade United.
Okay.
And at the time, that was a tough pill to swallow because we had no money. And then here we are having to fork out more money for coaching.
How much did they charge you?
I would say it's relatively cheap at the time. It was like $1,200 a month.
That's nothing.
But for us at the time, we had $0. So
mind negative,
yeah.
more likely.
So in order to do that, we had to take out credit cards in our personal names to do that and to continue paying our staff because we had no money in the bank. And it was, I think we were just aware that, look, this is do or die. We're about to go bankrupt, and this is our Hail Mary shot at actually turning this thing around and learning business. And so we just lent in as hard as we could with this coaching, and we took everything they gave us and studied, just studied every single night, read ebooks, watched YouTube videos, listened to other business people, and just learned as much as we could about business. And it wasn't an overnight turnaround, but...
How long? Sorry.
I would probably say within 12 to 18 months, we had made all the money back that we had lost. So we were basically in a position where we had negative $200,000 net profit on the profit and loss. And then over the next 12 to 18 months, we had made $200,000 net profit. So we're back to square one.
Wow.
But, with a lot more business acumen, and we sort of knew what we were doing. And I think one of the biggest learnings we had, obviously apart from learning how to read the financial data of a business, like profit and loss, balance sheet, age receivables, was, finding out who our ideal client profile is and going after that one type of client.
On the topic of accounting, how did you get the concepts of accounting? As in, I'll give an example, right? For myself, I actually didn't have any accounting background at all. I'm Asian, but I'm very bad at maths. Okay, very bad at maths. So how I actually learned accounting was I actually read a book. I can't remember what the name of the book was. I think it was Financial Shenanigans. So I read all these other books, didn't work, right? The only book that happened to work was that one. And how they explained it was they gave case studies of all the financial frauds that's ever happened in our societies. mostly America and here. And then gave examples of how they fudged the numbers for the particular aspect of the financial reports. That's how I learned it. So I was like, say, Enron, it was just, marking, if I, correct me if I'm wrong, they were marking the transactions from customers into the business like a bank, options or something as actual income. So they just bloated their income by like, 10-folds, 100-folds without actually having earned that income.
Yeah.
Like, how did you learn it?
Yeah, I mean, that's a very Asian way to learn it, I'd say. I mean, like, look, so that mentoring group, they had a CPA as part of the group who specialized in sitting down with you and explaining your numbers to you. And so he sat down with our profit and loss and our balance sheet and explained to us how it worked. And I wouldn't say that we understood it straight away, but then they explained how the way that we quote and use markup and margin, how that affects our profit and loss, what our break even is, because there's so much jargon in the finance world, right? Because there's so many applications for it.
Yes.
But for every business, there's a few key metrics that really, really matter. And so for trades businesses, there's a few numbers and terms that you should really, really know and understand how they work.
What are they?
Okay, so you need to know your profit and loss. You need to know revenue, gross margin, net margin, break even, and then I like to say cash days, which is your creditor days minus your debtor days. So like, are you getting paid quicker than you're paying people, which is really important in construction because payment terms are pretty long generally. Like especially in commercial construction, they're 30, 45, 60 days sometimes. And so managing cash flow is a really big thing. So there's a lot of terms you can learn out there, but I would say those 6 terms, if you know what those numbers are in your business and how they're influenced, and there's only a few things you can do to move those numbers up or down, you'll get a very well-rounded view of your business financially.
That's cool. What was like the major, what other major breakthroughs did you have to make your business succeed?
Yeah, so there's a lot of really tangible ones. And I mentioned before, knowing who our ideal client was massive for us because we were working for anyone and everyone. And it's hard enough to run a business as it is. It's really hard to run a business that has to service 5 sectors of the market you're working in and 5 different types of clients and provide value. And there's all different pricing structures and margins. It's just tough, and so many small businesses fall into that because, they're coming from a place of scarcity and I need the work, so I'm just going to take it on. When in reality, there's plenty of work within, one niche. And there's that saying, the riches is in the niches. And that's how the Americans say the word niche.
It's very true. Yeah, no.
But that was a huge thing for us. And I would say like that was obviously apart from knowing our numbers, that was the thing that turned the business around for us. So, how do we identify our ideal client profile? It was like, we looked at the jobs that we had done and we just asked ourselves, which projects do we enjoy doing the most and which ones do we make the most money out of? And which ones do those align with? And we looked at them and they were all the commercial fencing projects that we had done, all the security fencing projects for commercial builders. And so we decided like, what would it look like if we just work for those builders? And we said, that sounds great to us. That's a business we'd love to have. And so again, it wasn't overnight because the sales cycle of a commercial project, you've got a tendering process and it can be quite a long time. So it's not like overnight we can go and win a bunch of commercial projects, but we move forward with the intention of like in the next 12 to 18 months, we're going to have only commercial projects on our books and we're going to phase out all of the other types of projects that we're doing. And so that for us was huge because then we could start tailoring the business towards that type of client. What's the pricing structure look like for a tender and a commercial builder? What do they value? What type of utes and machinery and equipment do we need for that type of client? And we just started focusing on getting really, really good at servicing that type of client. And that's how we became really, really profitable.
Wow. That's interesting. So how long was the transition from, basically doing everything as in like, getting whatever job that comes through the door to, specializing in one thing? Like what was the transition like? How long did it take? What did you have to change within this company structure and all that other stuff?
I would say it was probably about 12 to 18 month transition period. And we had to get crafty with it, because these other projects we weren't making money on, we were losing money on them. And so although it's all well and good to sit there and run through the full sales cycle of a tender and wait 18 months to hear back, we didn't have that much time behind us. So, we went and door knocked on commercial builders' doors around Brisbane with a brochure in hand and business cards. and it just introduced ourselves and said like, hey, look, we're new in the game. If you've got any really tough projects that you're having trouble getting pricing on, we're happy to give you a price. And that is what started landing us work like very, very quickly, because not a lot of people do that. You know, door knocking's an old thing that people don't do, but it works very, very well still. And that landed us our first few commercial contracts.
Would you suggest that to, pretty much people watching this at the moment?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And we've done the same thing. When we expanded to Melbourne, we went down and we door knocked on 100 builders' doors that we wanted to work for. And we just did the same thing in Sydney. We've just started in Sydney, and we were probably here 3 months ago. We went to 72 builders and just door knocked on their door and introduced ourselves, and we've won work from it. So it absolutely works.
Conversion rate. What's your conversion rate on these sales calls?
On the door knocks?
Yeah.
Oh, to be honest, I haven't tracked that. Okay. But it's a high conversion rate. Like most of the time when we're door knocking, they're giving us projects that they're having trouble with already. And so we're the only people pricing it. So as long as we're submitting a price, we're winning the project.
That's an interesting thing, because that's what I figure out as well. Most people just don't want to do the hard work. People,
Exactly.
Most people actually want to say, hey, I want the fancy lifestyles, all the crap that comes with, entrepreneurship and business owner and stuff. But they don't actually do the hard work. And once you do the hard work, it actually becomes fairly easy, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. And look, I didn't door knock per se myself, but it was very similar in that sense. I just kept calling, just cold calling people.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
It worked the same.
I mean, door knocking is like almost the equivalent of cold calling in any other industry.
It's probably better, in my opinion, because you're actually seeing the person face to face, and you can get a gauge on how good he is, or how good she is. And,
it's very daunting for sure. Like, and even though we've done it in Brisbane, we've done it in Melbourne, we just did it in Sydney. Like those first few door knocks, it was like my heart was racing and I was very nervous for it. And sometimes you're met with like warm reception and people will sit down with you in the office, and sometimes you get the door slammed in your face. But it's just part of it, Yeah, we're showing up like unannounced at people's doors. So like, but some of the people who slammed the doors in our face, they at least took our business cards and we won work from it. We just caught them at a bad moment.
No way.
And they gave the business cards out to their colleagues, and someone's called us and said, hey, I just got your business card. We do need fencing on this project. So, sometimes those door slams, they actually do lead into work anyway.
Can you share a little bit of a secret? Like, give us your script, your door knocking script. What does it look like?
So the door knocking script, right, is we don't want to be asking something from them. If we're door knocking saying, hey, can you give us work? Then that's just not a good place to be coming from. We want to be providing value. And so because we understand who our ideal client is and what their pain points are, we understand they have a lot of trouble getting pricing during the tendering phase. So when our builders, when they're tendering on a project, they're tendering against 5 other builders for, say, a government project. When they're asking a trade, hey, can you give me a price on a job that I haven't won yet? Most tradies go, no, I'm too busy. Like, tell me when you've won it. And so they have to sort of guesstimate pricing based on past rates and all of that. And so we sort of have seen that's a big pain point for them. And so that's our offer to them, is like, hey guys, look, we're here. We just want to support you during the tendering process. Obviously, we're hoping that does lead to some work down the track. But if there's any tenders you guys haven't got any pricing on, just send them through to us and we're happy to get pricing back to you. We've got a great estimating team and we're just going to provide you value, not asking for anything. Obviously, we would love for that to turn into work, but that's how we're going to start our relationship with you. And so we're going to them with an offer, like, well, here's what we can give you. We're not asking anything from them. And in return, we do win work from it, and it builds a relationship.
It is. The funny thing is that the similarities is uncanny. That's exactly how I approach all of my sales as well. Like, here's what I can offer. I don't expect anything back at all. Take it. If you like me, refer more patients to me. Or like for me, it's patients or clients. But like for you, it's,
projects.
Yeah, it's the same.
Yeah, exactly.
It's exactly the same. Just offer more than you receive, and chances are the world will open doors for you that you never anticipated.
Yeah, man, 100%. Yeah.
Wow.
And it's such an easier way to do the sale as well. It takes the nerves right out of it when you're not going in there asking for something. You're going in there to offer something. It just makes it feel that much better. When you're walking in offering somebody something.
That leads to another point. I actually been, this has been in my head for like the past maybe 4 or 5 years. Like, I constantly think a person like me shouldn't have succeeded. Like, chances are, like, I shouldn't. I was lazy. I can't study. I am, I'm not particularly good at anything in general, right? But the fact that I hustled, the first few years of business somehow got me off the line. Is that what you found as well in your life?
Yeah, I love that you bring it up because it's something that I've been thinking about a lot lately because I feel the same way about myself. You know, it's like it's not like I'm some genius or super intellectual person. So how have I become successful? And, you know, my business partner and I were a part of Forbes Club. So they have like quarterly networking events and there's like, we're the least successful people in the room there. But all I'm doing is I'm just picking their brains and studying them. And like the common denominator that I've found amongst all these really, really successful people is that they're all delusionally confident and they're willing to take risks.
Yes.
And,
yes.
you know, the delusional confidence, it ends up not being delusional at all because they back themselves and they make it work. And
Yes.
so that's the one common denominator in that room, you know, like, yeah, of course there's a level of intelligence there, but the one thing that they all have in common
special.
is like they're just willing to take more risks and they're so confident that they're going to pull it off that they take bigger risks than other people. And so, you know, in a lot of ways, I see that in myself and my business partner as well. Like some of the decisions we make now that we don't even think twice about, someone else might think that's so risky to do and so scary to do, you know, like expanding to another state and investing $1 million to do it. Like that sounds really scary. But to us, it's just another day now. We're so used to doing it.
It's calculated risk though. So
Yeah.
like you know exactly what you're getting into. You've got a system that works. You've got a playbook that works. And then all you do is just copy and paste.
Exactly.
And yeah, no, as long as, you know, nothing else goes wrong or you don't hire the wrong person, chances are it's going to replicate itself.
Yeah, definitely. And it's the people in the Forbes Club are like very, very inspiring people, and the way that they think about things, you know, like they don't really think about money as a barrier to entry. You know, they're more thinking about what's a good idea and how do I execute it.
What is the Forbes Club? Sorry.
So Forbes Club, it's the Forbes brand, you know,
As
Forbes
a magazine.
yeah.
Okay.
And they've recently started the thing in Australia called Forbes Club, and you know it's an exclusive thing where you have to be invited in or you apply, and it's a group. They've got 50 people in Brisbane, 50 in Melbourne, 50 in Sydney, and like they're supposed to be, you know, high net worth individuals, and they have events throughout the year, one every 3 months, and then they do crazy things like going to Formula One in Monaco and Formula One in Abu Dhabi. There's some like insanely like wealthy people in these groups, like billionaires.
Can you like disclose, you know, not names? Chances are you can't disclose names. Like, you know, what do they do?
Yeah, it's a very big mix. There's a guy in there, like, and I guess like I won't get too specific, but he owns a porn company. He's very well. He's done very well for himself. There was a woman there last night, and she owned and exited MCO Beauty for $1 billion. I posted about her this morning. Saying there's a guy that owned and exited Catch.com. It's a big mix. It's a very, very big mix, and you'd be surprised at like, again, that's the common denominator is like whatever people are doing, they're going so hard at and taking it further than anyone's taken before, and that's where they're getting their level of success from.
Are these all Australian entrepreneurs and businesses?
Yeah.
People?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. This is Forbes Club Australia, so
Okay.
yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, and so they bring in some amazing guest speakers. We went to Melbourne and we got to sit in a $150 million house in Toorak that was owned by Len Warson, and he owns Lenville Homes, and they're a high-end residential builder in Melbourne, again, like doing over $1 billion revenue, and you just meet some incredible people.
Yeah, and then stick a business card somewhere.
Yeah,
and go,
yeah.
Hey, you need fencing help? Come find me.
Yeah, but everyone in the room is so cool, so down to earth, you know, like, and yeah, you know, I was a bit worried joining. I'm like, oh, are they going to be pretentious? But it's like everyone is so down to earth, so helpful. They're very, very good at like networking and making connections and building relationships. I'd say that's another really common factor amongst them all. They form relationships and connections very, very quickly.
Well, like I see it this way. Like the common perception is that, you know, business people or these high net worth people are dicks, basically.
Yeah.
Right? That's what everyone thinks. But like I've met a few of them, like, you know, billionaires, like I've met probably one. They are probably one of the nicest people that you ever meet. And like I actually came to the conclusion that if they're bad people, chances are no one wants to do business with them.
Yeah, exactly.
So they're not going to get to where they are. Like more likely than not, they're very trustworthy. More likely than not, they're very truthful and honest, and very easy to approach. Like don't screw them over.
Yeah.
Obviously,
of
they'll cut ties like an instant. Like
Yeah.
I would do that too. If someone screws me over, thank you, bye.
Yeah.
But that's what I found out as well. And it's funny, like the public perception is very bad for these business people.
I know.
But
I mean, the thing is, they don't become rich by scamming people. They become rich by providing value to a large number of people, and they're not stealing money off people. People are giving them money for a service or a product that they see a lot of value in, and that's how they become very well off. And a lot of these people, they're not in it to make money. They're in it because they have a vision around a really great product or a really great service, and the money follows it.
And the game part of it, as in I want to be the best.
Yeah.
Therefore, I want to keep going. Like chances are you're in the same position as most of those guys. You can probably retire very comfortably right now.
Yeah. Yeah. We could exit the business and sail off into the sunset, really.
Exactly. But why do you keep doing it?
Yeah. I
Actually,
know.
why do you keep doing it?
That's just not who I am. I would probably become quite depressed if I exited the business and then just had nothing to do with my life. And it's definitely something that we've thought about, and it's probably on the cards one day. And then what does purpose look like for us after that? And so I've been thinking about that. What does purpose look like for me? And for me, growing my social media presence, I've actually had a lot of people reach out for mentoring, and I've been mentoring a few trades businesses every few months now, and that's been incredibly rewarding.
Is it free or is
not
it
free? No,
not free.
Not free.
Do you want to do a plug? How much it is?
Yeah, it's a. We'll have a meeting with them. So because I've got limited capacity on what I can and can't do, I'm selective with who I work with. So I do get a lot of messages around it, and then I send back a few qualifying questions, and then we have a meeting and we see if it's a fit, and then from there we talk about pricing. But it's like, at the end of the day, what I'm with the investment they have to make in me, they're getting back 10 times, 50 times in return.
Times.
Like
Easy.
it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
I had a client the other day, and we were going through his books, and we found a 9% margin leak in his projects, and it was an accounting error where what was showing up in his accounting software, 0, versus showing up as in project management software, there was a 9% difference. And that's because he wasn't capturing certain costs in his project management software. His bookkeepers who are offshore were processing it through 0 and not putting it in here.
Oh.
And so then therefore the budgets that his project managers had were elevated from what they really were, and people just naturally spend the budgets that they're given and take the time that they've got to do a task. So they were spending more money than they actually had on the projects. And he was turning over $6 million. So we found a $540,000 leak in the business every year. And so all we had to do was fix up the way that transaction was getting recorded and put it back in the projects now. And now his projects are running more profitably. So it's the sort of value that I'd like to think I can bring to a lot of businesses, because I'm just coming in with a fresh set of eyes,
No, more than that, you're coming there with experience
Yeah.
that no one, I wouldn't say no one else has, but there's not many people like you in Australia.
Yeah, I know, and that's part of the reason I wanted to start offering the mentoring as well. Is I loved the group coaching that we did, but I would have really loved having a one-on-one coach to come and sit down with me in our business and get their hands dirty and work out what exactly is going wrong in my business right now. And that's what I'm trying to do. There's so many things that you can work on in your business, but what I'm trying to do is identify the biggest things, the biggest 1 or 2 things that can move the needle today for those businesses so that they're getting a return straight away. And we'll make a list of all the other things that need working on, but look, let's fix this and let's fix this right away because this is your biggest margin leaks. This is where most of your money's been lost in the business. Once we fix that, we'll keep working our way up that list.
What's the most common margin leaks that you've found?
It's for construction, it's not tracking job costs in general. So most businesses don't track their job costs. So they'll quote a project, and say it's going to cost $100,000, and then they hand that over to their project managers, and the project managers they just spend whatever it takes to get that job done, but they're not actually tracking those costs against budgets. And so when you don't have a budget, you're obviously you've got nothing to track it against, and so you're going to overspend.
Oh.
And so that's a huge margin leak. And a lot of the time it's because people don't have the software in place to actually handle that for them. So they're trying to do it manually and it just all becomes a bit too much. And so having a good piece of software that can help you track your project costs is really, really important.
Can you disclose how you guys do it internally?
Yeah. So we use a bit of software called Simpro. And it's a very powerful bit of software. It's very complicated, and I wouldn't say it's for every trades business. There's some more simple ones out there. But we've just set it up in a way that it happens all automatically. So at any time, We can look at any of our projects and see down to the dollar and cent where are we tracking against our budgets, which items have gone over, which ones have gone under, and our project managers can make good decisions based on that.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
How many people are you coaching at the moment, right this moment? Are you actually looking for more? Or, is there like possibility of, gaining your time to coach them?
Yeah, definitely. I always like when people reach out to me, and I limit myself to only having 4 coaching clients at any one time. So it's a kind of roll in, roll out thing. And so I've got 4 at the moment, but some of them will be finishing up at the end of this month, and I'll be looking for more. And I'm already always interviewing more people. So it's at the moment it's like a bit of a side hustle for me, but it's something that I'm really passionate about and gives me a lot of purpose. And like I just love helping these businesses. Like we've got a structured set of sessions, but I'm generally going above and beyond and going outside of those sessions as well to help them, because I just I don't know. I know how they feel because I was in that position myself once, and I want to help.
It's so true.
Yeah.
Like I'm the same. Like, look, I'm actually coaching someone as well, but it's not public. It's not I'm not known. I've decided to offer my help to this particular person, and I've seen the business grown. I think it was like doubled in the past 9 months or something, and it's all just knowledge. Like I have to say, like if you know what I know now, you can progress exactly the same size business, and I'm pretty sure it's like probably the same for you as well.
Yeah, 100%. That's why we're able to start up in Melbourne, and it's the same size as Brisbane within a couple of years, and we never lost money in Melbourne because now we're starting it with the knowledge that we have now.
Yeah,
it's the same in Sydney. Sydney's going to be even better again because we've got the knowledge. Like once you know and understand how to run a business and how to lead people, I think you could do anything really. Like I know that you're in the industry that you're in and I'm in the industry that I'm in, but I have no doubt that we could swap industries or go somewhere else and still run a very, very good business.
It will take maybe like a few months, I'll say.
Yeah.
Like you have to understand my business, I have to understand yours.
Of course,
all
yeah.
the, money and lots of stuff, structure as well. But it's only a matter of time, and then you'll probably run mine as well. Do you want to run mine as well?
Yeah. And I mean, like that's what. So like I would say in Forbes Club, right? There's 2 types of people in there. There is the founders who are in the weeds and they're doing the work, and they're very involved in like one business, and that business is doing really, really well. And then there's the investors who are in there, and they have invested in 12 different businesses in 12 different industries, and they've got equity partners who are actually doing the work for them, but they understand how to run business. So despite the fact they don't know the ins and outs of the insurance game or selling pet food, they understand the ins and outs of business and how business should run. So they're able to guide their equity partners who run those businesses for them. And so I've always found that really interesting as well. Like some of these people, like they literally have 12 businesses in 12 completely different sectors, but because they understand business and they understand people, it doesn't matter they don't have the knowledge on exactly what it is, because it doesn't really matter. It's all the same fundamentals across business as a whole and people as a whole.
It is. One question, side question, right? Have you ever been approached by private equity to buy out your firm yet?
We have, yeah. We have twice actually.
Oh, did you play around with them? Because I actually did.
Really?
And I was like, I haven't gone so far as hey, give me an offer. I haven't gone down that path yet. But I'm like, entertain me. Like, what do you have to offer?
Yeah.
I actually asked all these questions. Like, what was your experience?
I mean, it's on the cards for us to do one day, but we still have like so much potential ahead of us. And if anything, we're on the other side where we're wanting to start acquiring other businesses and roll them into our company.
Yep.
So, it was like great to get the offer. And there's a lot of private equity in construction right now, and they're rolling up businesses. And so a lot of our competitors are being bought right now by larger groups, and they're getting rolled into the same entity. And so, yeah, there's offers out there, and it's certainly tempting because it'd be great to have that big payday and ride off into the sunset. But I think for now, there's still a lot of value we can bring and a lot that we can do. And like I said, we're sort of looking to acquire businesses ourselves now to continue expanding across Australia. So we're on the other side. We're going to start making offers to businesses.
Yeah, no, I'm with you right there. So going back, what's your aspirations? Like, what's your goal at the moment? Because goals change. I know goals change.
Yeah.
Like my one changes pretty much like every 6 months. What's yours like?
So our tangible goal for the business is we want to continue growing AH fencing until we're in every major city in Australia, and exceed $100 million in revenue, which will just come as part of nature of doing that.
Go $1 billion. Why 100 million?
I know. I mean, like,
big B.
You say goals change, right? Like telling myself 5 years ago that we have a goal of 100 million and that it's actually on the cards and it's coming, I would have thought that's absolutely crazy. But like now we know it's not an if that's going to happen. We know it's a when. We can like almost forecast it out. It's going to be 2030. We'll be at $100 million revenue. And so that's so exciting. And you're totally right. Why stop at 100? Because on the way, things are happening, like we're now bringing manufacturing and importing in-house, which is something we didn't see. So that's going to bolster our revenue and bolster our offering.
I remember seeing that. You were at the Canton Fair or something, right?
Yeah, we went to China, maybe a month or two ago, and we met a bunch of factories, a bunch of suppliers, and we placed our first order. We've got a container coming over on the water now. And so, we're bringing that in-house, and, like, who knows what else is going to happen over the next 5 years. We move very, very fast, and if you see an opportunity, we sort of jump on it. So the goal at the moment is do 100 mil revenue, be in every major city in Australia. And, like the why behind it all is the reason that Matt and I started the business in the first place was we wanted to create a workplace that people enjoy coming to.
Yep.
Because it's something that we had never really experienced before in the construction industry. And, we're not like super old, we're both 36, but we come from a time in construction where like as the apprentices, you'd get treated like shit and just wasn't a fun time in general. And so we've always had a bit of a passion of like, how do we make construction enjoyable to work in? And so that's sort of transcended beyond that now to, we don't just want to create an amazing workplace for people to work in. We want to make the construction industry a better place to be in for everyone. So not just our staff, but our clients and our suppliers and the other trades we work alongside. And the way we're going to do that is by being an amazing example of what a construction company can look like when they put people first. And you don't have to choose between people or profit. It's like putting people first will make you more profitable, which is part of the reason it's really important that we grow the business across Australia so we can bring as many people on that journey as we can. We get ourselves out there on social media and we're as transparent as possible. So we are smashing social media. We're transparent about our numbers, about our revenue, about our net profit percentages, because it's all well and good to have an amazing place to work. But if you're not doing profitably, then no one else is going to try and copy you and do it. So we're trying to show people that construction can be an amazing industry to work in by setting a great example for what that might look like.
Are you scared that your competitors are going to look at that and then back engineer it or copy you or do whatever else to
No, absolutely not. Like, and if anything, I encourage it. Like
why? Why is that?
Rising tides lift all ships is a really great saying. So as my competitors get better, we get better for it as well. And in the construction game, you're pricing projects against competitors who aren't running a great business. They're underpaying staff. They don't know their costs. And we'll submit a price for a job at 600 grand and they submit it at 400,000. And we know the market and they've just made mistakes. And now that person's winning that job and they're going to lose money on it. And so that's just not good for anyone. Now we haven't won the job and they're not making money either. So I want our competitors to get better. It's in our best interest and we want to attract people to the industry. Construction's got a huge labor shortage at the moment. And if there's average businesses out there, it's not helping attract people to the industry. So I want our competitors to get better. I don't think their success means our failure. I think we can all succeed together because, there's a finite amount of jobs out there. And if we're all making money on them, then we'll all do better together.
Well, that's a good framework because I never actually thought about that. But I guess, majority of people that are consuming your content is probably like smaller players and they're not within your scope of projects, right? Is that?
Yeah, there's a lot of young trades business owners that consume my content. I'd say that's like the large majority. And I know for a fact, like our competitors do, because it's like I've seen them at networking events and they've reached out and said like, I can't believe you're sharing everything that you're sharing. And they'd never do it themselves. So there's a wide group of people that follow my content, but definitely I wouldn't say it's just trades business owners, it's small business owners because I share a lot of challenges around small business. Like you found me because I shared one about
correct
an unfair fair work dismissal claim.
Yes.
And there's been a number of those things that have happened and that's, that transcends across all sectors of small business in Australia. So, at the end of the day, I'm not sharing content about fencing. I'm sharing content about us growing a business in Australia, and that resonates with a lot of people.
Oh, that brings up a very interesting topic because, look, personally, I've come to realize that Australia is not exactly a place for entrepreneurs, business owners. Like there is the opportunity. The opportunity comes where you work more than other people, which is what happens is the baseline of work ethics is very low in Australia. So if you're working more than that, chances are you're out-competing everyone else. So like for me personally, I don't know about you, but like for the first 2, 3, 4 years, maybe I was working maybe 15, 16 hours a day, 7 days a week. And that's how I out-compete all my competitors. And then I've managed, grow a company to a small size. Like, was that the same as you? Like, how was your journey?
Yeah, 100%. I've got so much to say around work ethic in Australia, so I'm glad you brought it up. And it's part of the reason why it's so easy to succeed in a way in Australia, because the competition is just not there. People just don't want to put the work in, and work-life balance gets thrown around all the time.
Work-life balance.
I hate the term work-life balance, and I had a mentor tell me
I hate that too.
The best way to look at it is work-life rhythm, and that doesn't mean that it's always going to be consistent. It means some months are going to be extremely busy. You're going to work 16-hour days, and other months might be slower, and that's the work-life rhythm of life. And so it's not about having a balance all the time. It's about having a good rhythm. And yeah, for sure, we absolutely I love working. I love building a business, and so does my business partner. And we will work as long as we have to, because we're passionate about doing what we do, and that makes it easier. But in saying that, it's not like every day's easy. I don't want to do some of the shit we have to do, but I just have to do it. And that's just what you have to do to succeed. And yeah, work ethic in Australia, it sucks.
Absolutely sucks. That's coming from two fucking business people.
Yeah.
It sucks so bad.
Yeah, and it might sound like, oh, you guys are business owners, telling your employees sucks.
Yeah.
But Australians, unfortunately, there's this culture of entitlement in Australia. And in my opinion, it stems from two places. And, entitlement to me, what that means is expecting something for nothing in return. So, you look at people on welfare in Australia, and of course there's some necessary cases, but there's also people milking the system. And so you look at, there's 2.6 million government workers out of the workforce in Australia. So it's 17% of the workforce works for the government. And on average, it takes 4 government workers to do what one private sector employee does. So government workers, and it's no fault of them. It's the culture that the government has created. They're not working hard and still getting rewarded for it. And that culture naturally leaks into the private sector.
Yes.
And then you've got unions as well, especially in the construction space. Unions' roles, once upon a time, of course, were to protect the worker. Nowadays, it's very, very corrupt, and their job is to slow down projects and extort money out of the government. And so even in the construction space, there's a huge percentage of workers that are on union projects. And I know for a fact the average amount extra you are supposed to allow on a union project is 40% more labor. So you're allowing for things to have 40% downtime.
What?
So workers who are on a union project, and everyone who's worked on a union project know this, you're standing down 40% of the time. And then again, that culture, you then start to get used to that culture. I'm entitled to only work half a day. If it rains, one drop of rain, I get to go home and get paid for a full day. There's all these sort of crazy entitlements that unions have perpetuated on union projects. And then those workers, that culture leaks into the rest of the construction industry.
Because everyone was like, oh, they're doing it, therefore I want it too.
Yeah.
That's how people are. Envy, right? That's literally the root of all evil, in my opinion.
So you've got these two big structures in Australia that are rewarding people for not doing work, for nothing in return, and creating a culture of entitlement. And just naturally it leaks into everywhere else in the industry. And so that's why for businesses who are trying to stand out and trying to find really good people, it feels really hard because there is so few people with a good work ethic in Australia.
It's so true.
And
I can't agree more.
I've preached it where, if you expect to have as business owners, it's our responsibility. If you want to have the very top 5% of people in your business, then you've got to be a top 5% business.
Yes.
So you can't be an average business and expect to attract the best talent. If you want to attract the best talent, you've got to be one of the best businesses out there. So on business owners, we can sit here and whinge about it, but also it's on us to make sure that we're attracting and retaining the very best talent possible. But it does suck. I hate the culture of entitlement in Australia. It doesn't help anyone. No. I'm not sitting here and whinging about these people. It doesn't serve them either. But
I don't think it's their fault. It's the system's fault.
Yeah.
Because look, I actually got a very cool story I can share on that specific point. We have a client that's a labor hire company, a very big labor hire company. So what they do is they're like, our wages keep going up. Why? because the government's paying them, I think it was like $40-something thousand per year just sitting at home. And then people will be, doing a calculation in their head. It was like 40,000 sitting at home or 60, 70,000 working.
Yeah.
I'm going to choose the 40,000 and then maybe a cash job on the side or something, right? That will outstrip the $70,000 wage that you're going to give me anyways.
Yeah.
So I'll just choose the entitlement instead of doing the actual hard work, which is, and they're a massive labor hire company. They see this across the board. Like they hire thousands of people.
Yeah.
And imagine that.
I know.
So like,
I watched a podcast from Mark Boris yesterday, and he talked about, in regards to government, there's two types of government. There's one type of government that tries to reward and incentivize small businesses and innovation and entrepreneurship to, push the nation's economy into prosperity and create jobs and create productivity. And then there's another type of government who focuses more on the welfare of its citizens, which is the type of government that we've got, which is great, but they're focusing more on, all right, how do we raise revenue by raising taxes so that we can hand it out to people on welfare? And so what they're doing is they're discouraging innovation, they're discouraging entrepreneurship and innovation, which then discourages productivity, and it encourages people to sit around and do nothing and not want to work hard, because why would they when they don't have to?
Correct.
And so it's not like it's coming from a bad place. It all starts from a good place, but this government and the government in Australia has created this culture of entitlement over the last however many years. It's a long time. It's not like it's just happened in the last 3 years.
Yes.
Where we're focused on the welfare of people, which is coming from a really good place, but we've created this culture of entitlement and lost so much productivity because of it.
It is. I absolutely agree. And if people actually want proof, just look at Singapore, look at Dubai.
Yeah.
Probably similar population. Yes, the land size is much smaller, but they are way more efficient, productive, and in my opinion, a better economy than us.
Yeah.
Like we're lucky that we've got a massive mining industry that's literally supporting everything, right? They don't, and they're relying on financials and all the productivity of their own citizens to actually prop up the economy.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
It's weird, and I guess it's a very complicated system, and I don't understand it well enough to know why they make the decisions that they do. But I know, and you know it as well, that running a business in Australia is tough, and it just continues to get harder and harder. And you've just got to be so fucking good to make it.
It is.
That's why so many businesses fail. Like small business insolvencies are through the roof in the last 5 years. Like it's insane, especially in the construction space. They're higher than ever.
I actually think don't take too much offense about it, but I think majority of the insolvencies comes from people not wanting to pay their tax bills. Isn't that correct?
Yeah. I think. I mean, look, they don't want to pay it because they can't pay it, because they can't afford it. It's not like they're sitting there with cash in the bank and just not paying the bills. Like at the end of the day, they don't. And I agree with you. It's an education problem. Like, people naturally become really good at what they do, and they think the next logical step is to start a business. And then most people learn that those skills don't transfer at all.
Nah.
Like being a great technician at whatever it is that you're doing, running a business is completely different. And some people never make that distinction, and they just stay in this rat race of being on the hamster wheel of struggling away. And so, I try and help my clients understand the mental shift of you are not a tradie anymore. You're someone that has a trade, but you're a business owner first and foremost, and you have a trade, but that's not what you do on a day-to-day basis. You're now a business owner, and you have to get just as good at that as you are at your trade.
That's cool. But on the topic of stupid government policies, right? Payroll tax. We're talking about this right before we hop on. What's the payroll tax in Queensland at the moment?
Oh, it's somewhere between 4% and 5%, I think. Yeah, and it's similar in New South Wales, and Victoria.
5.45.
Is it?
Yeah. I know that figure, on top of my head. I think it was $1.3 million of wages and above.
Yeah.
Would get penalized essentially for hiring more people.
Yeah.
At a rate of 5.45%.
Yeah, which that's not indexed. That's been sitting at 1.3 million for a long time. But wages have risen. Yeah, they love doing that. It's the same with the nominal tax brackets. They haven't risen them for a very long time either.
Yeah, like stuff like that. What's your opinion on payroll tax?
Yeah, I think it's ridiculous. I've always wondered, where does this come from? Why are we getting penalized for employing more people? It doesn't make any sense. And I looked up where payroll tax came from and when it was introduced. And it was introduced during World War II because businesses at the time were using the roads more and using the infrastructure more if they had more staff.
Is
and
it?
payroll tax went directly towards helping fund war efforts. So, at the time, businesses were more than happy to do that because we were in a war, and then payroll tax just hung around and it never left because
Wow.
governments introduce taxes and they very rarely remove them.
Nah, they never do it.
Now, don't cite me on that. That's I've tasked ChatGPT about that. But it's I don't understand the logic behind it, but that sort of makes sense why they introduced it, and then it just never left.
That's interesting because I see it. I'm like, why are you disincentivizing me hiring people here? The only logical answer that I can come up with is because unemployment is so low here that you don't really care whether you hire people or not. As in the government doesn't really care. But I think youth unemployment is very high. Adult unemployment, I don't know. I think it's still sitting at 4.5%?
Yeah, which is largely propped up by the government though.
That's true. You were saying 70% of workers work for the government, which
Yeah.
it's pretty ridiculous.
It
1 in
is.
8.
It's the highest in the world.
Is it?
Did you know that? Yeah.
No, I've got no idea.
Yeah, it's the highest in the world per
What's
capita.
the US? Do you know?
No, I'm not sure. But yeah, it's crazy. And yeah, I don't understand why they're disincentivizing it, it makes us look offshore for staff. We're wanting to reduce our onshore bill, so it's increasing unemployment in Australia,
Yeah.
And the government right now they're very clearly making unemployment look better by employing a bunch of people. Whereas they wouldn't have to do that if they just would incentivize businesses to hire more people onshore, but they're disincentivizing that.
I guess, the counter argument to that is, if they don't do that, then wages might drop. Do you think that's true?
If they don't penalize it, I feel like they're penalizing us for wages rising. Because it's once you hit that $1.3 million threshold, so people are going to do what they can to keep their wages under $1.3 million. So if giving all your staff a 10 grand pay rise would tip you over that $1.3 million mark, you're probably not going to do it because then you've also got to pay another 5.5% tax on top of that. I mean, that's how I would think about it in my head. It's also one of the only taxes, right, where, income tax you only pay if the business is profitable.
Yes.
So, all right, fair enough, even though it's annoying. GST,
I'm actually very good with income tax because if I'm making money, sure, take
Exactly.
it, right? I'm here to support the government. I see it as the funny thing is I see it as a protection fee, like the gangsters protection fee.
Yeah.
So the government's protecting me from, essentially military and all that stuff, right? So 30% protection fee, take it.
Yeah,
right?
it is
25,
like a mafia.
right?
It is a mafia.
Yeah, but sorry.
So you've got income tax that you only have to pay if you're profitable. Fair enough. You've got GST, which, you're being paid, holding on to, and then passing it on at best time. PAYG, similar sort of thing. You're accruing it, holding it for employees and passing it on. Payroll tax, you accrue whether your business is profitable or not. Your business could be losing money and you still owe payroll tax. It's the one tax
ridiculous.
that it doesn't make any sense at all. You could be struggling in your business and they've still got their hand out saying, give me that money.
Yeah, give me, or else, I'm going to penalize you.
Yeah.
Have you ever been penalized for your taxes?
We haven't been, look, we've had general interest charges on our on late tax bills.
They changed it, from July 1st onwards. You can't deduct the general interest charges anymore.
Yeah, it's not tax deductible anymore.
Yeah.
So, fortunately now we're up to date on all our tax and we have been for a while, but that would have very much hurt us in the early days because we were accruing a lot of interest and they were, I can't remember what the word is, but they were giving us the interest back basically. We were
waiving it.
Waiving the interest. Yeah. So I don't know. There's just a lot of tax out there. It's insane.
The other topic that I do want to touch on. It's actually not in our scripts, but minimum wage. What's your opinion on it?
We pay so far above the minimum wage. That it's not really. It's a bit of a non-issue for us.
Yep.
And we have workers bring it up to us. We have a very clear remuneration policy. We pay what we call an all-in wage. So we pay a much higher wage, almost double what minimum wage is. And that takes into account all of our workers' entitlements into that wage. But then we'll still have people bring up to us why am I not getting penalty rates? Or, you should be paying me for rain days or whatever it is. And it's no, we pay you more every single day, every single hour to allow for that. So you're already covered. So, minimum wage is rising.
I actually don't know how much it is because, like you, I pay my guys way above minimum wage.
Yeah.
But what's your opinion on the actual, the policy of minimum wage though?
It's a good question. I haven't really thought too much about it, to be honest.
Okay.
Why do you say that?
Why? Because I actually think it's complete bollocks. I hated it. Like I said, it doesn't affect me, but I think it's one of the dumbest policies there are. The reason why I say that is it disincentivizes you from hiring young people.
True.
Because young people, they want the opportunity, like low
To
wage, low everything, so that the employers are willing to teach them, spend the time to actually teach them, but they can't compensate for it with a lower wage.
Yeah.
If you keep rising the minimum wage, chances are you're not going to hire those like graduates.
It's a good point. Yeah.
High school people. Like, why would I pay someone $20, $30 an hour?
Yeah.
Whereas I can get a 2-3 year experienced technician for maybe like 20-30% above that.
Yeah.
Right.
No, yeah, you're totally right. And I mean, the minimum wage for our industry in commercial construction is $34 an hour. And so, yeah, paying someone $34 an hour who's fresh out of school and is really bringing not a lot of value, that's a big investment.
It's negative value.
It's negative. You're losing money.
They're going to destroy something.
Yeah, you're losing money on it.
Yeah.
It's an investment that you're making into them. And so yeah, you're totally right. It makes it much less palatable for a business to do it because, yeah, like $34, and I tell my mentoring clients that, like they'll have apprentices and junior staff that they're paying these minimum wages to, but they're still losing money on it. And I'm like, look, you're a small business. You're already struggling as it is. I know that you want to have these young employees, but you don't have the finances to fund this, It's almost reserved for the large corporations now.
Correct. It's actually one of the biggest shifts that I did. So at the beginning of my business journey, I started hiring a lot of graduates because coming from that mindset, I was like, oh, there's like $20,000-$30,000 of value gap that I could somewhat exploit if I hire someone that's just out of uni. They're like, $65,000-$70,000 back then. And I was like, maybe I can, make some money out of that, right? And then I quickly realized that no, like that $20,000-$30,000 of gap is not worth your time.
No.
Absolutely not worth your time. And my pro tip to any business person, just go and hire like the most, I want to say the most senior, but like middle of the ground ones. Like chances are you won't attract the most senior people. You won't attract the best talent. There's no way, absolutely no way. No one wants to work with for you. Like I was sharing my story earlier today with you. My first job ad that I ever posted, 0 applicants.
Yeah.
0. That was the very first one. It was like 2019, over 2019. No one bloody applied. When I saw it, I was like, I need people. What am I going to do? The funny thing is actually, it's a side story as well. Because I posted on Seek and I think it was like $500. And it was like $500 that I never had back then, right? And I was like, I called up the customer service on Seek. I was like, hey, look, I did post an ad up. It was around Christmas. I never anticipated not getting any applicants. There are no applicants. Can I get my money back? They actually gave my money back.
Yeah, okay. Well, yeah, no applicants is pretty wild.
Yeah.
And I feel you, man. Like we were experiencing that, especially like during COVID, where we were getting no applicants and we needed people badly. And that was what drove us to start posting on social media in the first place was like, all right, look, Seek is not working. How do we start attracting people to the business? Because it's all well and good for us to post, a Seek thing saying this is what you do for your role.
No one
but
cares.
It doesn't give people a sense of who you are and what it's like to work there. And so that was the first time we ever approached a content agency and was like, hey, can you come in and film some content like in the day-to-day so people get an idea of like what it's like to work here and who we are. As soon as we started posting that, our Seek ads started getting more and more people. And now we posted an ad in Melbourne maybe a month ago. We had 1,400 applicants. We posted one in Queensland, 600 applicants.
Wow.
It's crazy. So we're in a place where hiring for us is so easy, which is amazing. It's because we've built a brand on social media and people want to work for us. So now when we put an ad up, people are lining up and they've already applied 3 times before and they're waiting for that next opportunity. And so I feel really blessed, that like for us, we can win as much work as we can possibly take on because hiring's not a problem. And we've like also seemingly perfected the training part of it as well. So, and that's all off the back, I think of obviously, we're running a good business, but we've built a really good brand and we've put ourselves out there and we've showed people who we are. And so naturally people who are more aligned with us are applying for roles as well.
Have you seen your churn rate going down as well?
Yeah.
Over time?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. We used to have a very high churn rate. And it's so low now, and like, again, we hire people based on our best guess at the time, what our gut feel says, and it doesn't always work out.
It absolutely doesn't.
Yeah.
God, I think every single business owner has those stories whereby they will be sitting on, opposite someone. That guy would sound like an articulate, how should I say this? One of the best people that you've ever met. Right?
Yeah.
He's like the savior that you ever wanted. Because I recently had this, and promises the entire world to you, and then like 2-3 months down the track, absolute bullcrap.
Yeah.
I've seen it so many times, so many times.
I get so invested in people too. Like I'm sure you feel the same when you have someone interview like that. I'm like, it's like a new relationship. I'm like thinking about the future. I'm thinking about getting married and having kids with them. I'm thinking about, man, this person's going to be awesome. They're going to be general manager one day. How amazing. And then like a month in, you're like, what the fuck? Like, what happened? You sounded so good.
Happens all the time. I don't know what it is. Like you've probably, interviewed thousands of people.
Yeah, thousands.
So have I.
Yeah.
But those people still keep they still somehow sneak through. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, I mean, the good advice I've been given is hire fast and fire faster. So, you want to make sure you're attracting the right people and you're learning what to look for. But at the end of the day, you just got to go on your gut feel. And then as soon as you work out they're not going to be the right fit for you, move them on so you can, you're not wasting their time, you're not wasting yours, and you're on to the next person.
That's a good topic.
Yeah.
Go back to the first time you fired someone. What was that like? Because I have my stories. I want to hear yours.
Yeah, it was really tough. It was tough.
When was it?
I mean, look, man, I've had to. The first time I ever fired someone.
First time.
Oh, I think I was like 22. This is when I was like subcontracting, and it was so bad. Like, I couldn't have a tough conversation to save my life. So I had this guy who was showing up late every day. Some days he wasn't showing up, and I was, making little remarks to him, but I never said I never had the maturity to pull him aside and say, "Hey, mate, this is not okay."
How long did that take? Mine was like close to 12 months.
Yeah.
What was yours?
Yeah, same as 12 months, and then until one day, because I'd been bottling up all this stuff that I never said, I just completely snapped. I threw the shovels on the ground and I said, "Get the fuck off my site." Like, so bad. So and I was 22, super immature. And that all stemmed, from me not having tough conversations. And I didn't know what vision or values were and leadership looked like when, back then. I've found now that, maybe that guy could have been a great employee at the business we have today, because he would have come in, we would have made it very clear what the expectations were, what our values are. The first time he showed up late, we would have pulled him in and said, "Hey, mate, that's not okay." And maybe he would have showed up on time, and we could have molded him into being someone really great. But because I didn't have the maturity back then to see any of that, I let him slip, and it kept going. And then all of a sudden I blew up and I didn't have any employees anymore. And so I think there's a lot of people out there that you hire that they're on the fence as to whether they're going to be a good employee or a bad employee, and the way that you show up as a leader and the vision and the values you have in the business determines what side of that fence they fall on.
Really? I kind of call bullshit, because my tolerance for people are very low nowadays.
Yeah.
At the start it was very high. I'll put up people, say, "Oh, you're late, that's fine, please don't do it next time." Right now, same thing happens. Chances are I'm going to go, "Hey, this is probably not the right place for you."
Yeah, I agree with you. I think the writing's on the wall usually.
Yeah.
And we found the longer we try and mold someone into something else, it just doesn't work.
Yeah.
And so I totally agree with you. The signs are on the wall. I just feel like people conform to whatever's going on in the business. And so if you imagine you're a new employee and you rock up to a business and everyone else shows up late and you show up on time, you're probably going to start showing up late eventually.
Exactly.
And so people will just conform to whatever's happening around them. And so for us now, we've got 60 staff and they all operate by the same set of standards and same set of values. So when we bring another staff member in, they're more than likely going to conform to that group. And if they don't, then the group calls them out very quickly. So it almost becomes self-sustaining, and cultures do become self-sustaining, whether they're good or bad. And every business has a culture. It's either by default or by design, and you want it by design because if it's by default,
it is.
It's pure luck and it's not up to you.
It's going to be like work-life balance, basically.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
No, what's your company culture like at the moment?
It's a great company culture for high performers. And so we make that asterisk on there because we used to just say we have an amazing culture, and people, I think, had a sense of entitlement around that, that means I'm going to come here and have a good time no matter what happens. And
and everyone has different definitions of what high performance is.
Yeah.
And no one understands what high performance is until they actually come in.
Yeah.
Which is crazy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. People think they're a high performer until they get
they actually
exposed
see
to
it. Yeah. Actually, no, you go first. Like, what's your culture like?
Yeah, so we've got our vision and our values that are made very clear. Like during the interview process, we go through our vision and our values.
What are they?
So our values are own it, find a way, lead from the front, and never settle. And so these are actionable statements. They're not nouns. They're not accountability, integrity, teamwork. They're things that you can do every day. And so, they're values that people would love to say that they embody. Like, yeah, I'm somebody who owns it. I'm somebody who finds a way when things are tough. I never settle. I lead from the front. And so making those values clear, and we hold everyone accountable to those values as well. So, every time somebody does something that's not quite right, like they show up, late, it's like, hey, do you think that's leading from the front? Is that setting a good example for everyone else? Is that really owning it? And so we're always bringing things back to the values in the business. And so, that's step one of high performance, is having standards that are non-negotiable and you hold everyone accountable to. It doesn't matter how long you've been there or who you are, everyone's held to the same standards. And then it is based on performance, and how you've got to define what good is. Because most people do want to do well in their roles, generally speaking.
Yes.
But it's got to be very clear what does good look like, and they've got to have that clarity all the time. So, having dashboards on their KPIs or access to where they're at all times so that they can always be moving towards those goals. So I'd say we have a very competitive culture. Like everyone wants, all of our project managers are battling to be the best project manager, and our Brisbane team's battling the Melbourne teams, who's going to have the best results, and all the sales guys. It's very, very competitive. And the only reason we've done that is because, number one, we hold people accountable to those values, and it's very, very clear on what good looks like in the business, and you can sort of see where you're at based on what good looks like.
This is so cool because that is like a direct replication of exactly what this looks like.
Yeah,
because
awesome.
It's funny. We hired a manager last year. She's been integral to the growth of the business, and she taught me this: just release everything openly. Mm-hmm. Transparency.
Yeah.
Right. If everyone can see everyone else's performance, chances are the bottom 5%, 10%, whatever it is, they will either improve or they will naturally leave because they're like, I don't want to be at the bottom of the the leaderboard or whatever it is, and it's done wonders for the company culture in general.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love that. I totally agree with you. And we're super transparent about everything in the business. And I think a lot of business owners are very scared to do that. They hold the numbers and the financials of the business very close to their chest.
Yeah. But you guys post it on bloody social media.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I haven't done it yet though.
But
I'm thinking whether I should do it or not.
Context is key. Like the more context your staff have, the better decisions they can make. Like if people are just pigeonholed into one role and they have no idea what else is going on around them, like they're not going to make the very best decision all the time. So we try and give as much context as we can without like overwhelming people.
Well, so everyone in your business knows exactly what your numbers look like?
Yeah.
Wow.
And again, like it's not like we're sending them the profit and loss out of zero every month, but we present to them the revenue, the gross profit, and the net profit every single month. We don't want to overwhelm them because it can be a bit much to look at that. But it's like, here's where the company's at, here's how you affect those numbers, and here's where we want to get to. And most of the time we're very blessed that we're sharing good numbers with the guys. But we had a very average March as far as profit and loss went.
How come? What happened?
Melbourne's been slow. Melbourne's like, we're always slow at this time of year. Okay. But we've also invested really, really heavily into growth over the next few years. So we've got a lot of overheads at the moment. And so that slow period just hurt a little bit more than it normally did. So we lost a bunch of money in March, and we shared that with the team, and we didn't want anyone to go to panic stations. We sort of said this is why it's happened, and we're very blessed that 11 out of 12 months of the year we're sharing profitable numbers with you guys. But we just want to share as well that this is how fragile the business is, and we're not immune to losing money. It can happen. And, we've been low on work in Melbourne, and it's a slow period. We knew that was going to happen, and it's aligned with the time we're investing heavily in growth.
Yep.
So it's nothing to be alarmed about, but it's a good reminder to the team as well, because I think some of them, sometimes they'll think, we make money every month. It's easy to make money. And it's like, no, it's actually very hard. And a business is very fragile, and very small things at scale can make a very big difference to a business.
That's interesting. Never thought about it that way. Maybe I should do that too. Because right now, only the managers know the actual numbers.
Yeah.
Maybe I should release it there.
Yeah, I mean, we just try to give them the context on what the numbers mean and how they affect them as well. You know, so like revenue is the total amount of work we're doing. Like the more efficient you guys do your jobs, the more revenue we're going to get done. We've got fixed overheads every month, so we want that number to go higher. And then you've got gross margin, and that's like how efficiently we're doing our jobs. So of course, getting the jobs done quicker, but also not wasting materials, bringing things back to the warehouse so we can reuse them again. All that stuff's really important. And then the net profit is like, you know, affected by both of those numbers. So
that brings me to another idea. Question I want to ask. What's the hardest part about growing a fencing company or a construction company? Because like in my mind, right, if I understand, you know, construction enough, is that you guys have to buy all the material, dump all the money back in to do the next project.
Yeah.
Is that the biggest hurdle? Like, what are the biggest hurdles?
I mean, you know, to scale a service-based business, and similar for you, you've got to scale people. So scaling people is always a challenge. You've got to have, you know, you've got to study leadership and study people. So I would say that's most trade businesses' biggest challenge. But cash, absolutely, huge challenge. You know, construction is notoriously a low margin industry. It's got very average payment terms, and people pay late all the time. So, you know, we've got to pay our staff weekly, and we're not getting paid for 60 days on our projects. So as we grow our business and we take on more revenue, we have to pay all the staff to do that work before we actually get paid for that. So cash actually gets tighter as we grow. So it's very, very hard to do. And then you've obviously got people who are paying you late, and then all of the taxes that we're getting hit with. So yeah, I'd say cash flow, you've really got to understand cash flow in construction, because payment terms are not great.
Is that why you focus so much on cash flow and financials in your content?
Yeah, definitely. It's the lifeblood of construction. And, you know, people will look at the profit and loss. And for some businesses, right, like if you're getting paid upfront for your service, a lot of the time your profit and loss, whatever that shows at the end of the month, that's probably pretty similar to what your cash movement was. Like if you made 100 grand, you probably gained 100 grand in cash. But for a construction business or debt heavy businesses and people with long payment terms, your profit and loss has nothing to do with your cash flow. Like it does, it obviously influences it. But like there's so many items that are moving on your balance sheet that are affecting the cash that's coming in out of your business on a monthly basis.
I'm going to assume like bad debt is going to be a big portion of it, right? Yeah,
bad debt's in there. And we're like fortunate enough now that like we've got good processes so we avoid that happening. You know, like we
What's your tip on getting bad debt?
So, you know, we had trade credit insurance for quite a while, which is basically insurance for bad debt.
Oh, okay.
We never had to use it because part of having that insurance is every time we took on a new client, we had to make an application to the insurer, and they would do a credit review on them, and they would do that credit review every single month. And so they were getting the heads up if this client's, starting to pay late, they would say to us, we're going to reduce your level of cover on that builder as of this date. If you want to continue working for them after that, that's up to you. So every time that happened, we just stopped working for the builder or said we had to get paid up front. And every single time they told us that, which is 4 times, that builder ended up going bust. So having that trade credit insurance and having the notification from the insurer around their credit defaults saved us from working for builders who were going under. Now we've actually moved away from trade credit insurance, and we've brought that service in-house, not the insurance portion, but the tracking the credit. So now we're partnering with Creditor Watch, and you know, part of our finance team is there reviewing the credit files of all of our clients at all times. So we brought that in-house now because we never actually had to make a claim on the insurance. The insurance premiums are actually quite exy.
How much? Sorry.
It was a percentage of revenue, and I think it was might have been 1% of revenue or something like that. So it's quite a lot.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And so, you know, for a while it was good, peace of mind.
Yeah.
You know, I could sleep at night knowing, okay, if a client went under, we're going to get paid for it. And it's not the full payment; it's like 90% or something. So
that's
they still
good. It's better than zero.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. So, but then we've never made a claim, and we realized the only reason we're not making claims is because they're giving us, you know, warnings on their credit files. So why don't we just bring that service in-house and then get rid of these premiums? So I don't know, you know, we've only just started doing that in the last 12 months. So like, who knows, it might come to bite us, but but that's how we sort of stay proactive with it. And, you know, we do that onshore in Australia because our team's got the capacity for it, but to be honest, you could have that done offshore. You could probably get AI to automate that process and notify you every time that someone moves from a category B to a category C or something in their credit file.
Oh, pro tip. Wow. I actually, luckily I don't have a bad debt issue. So I never had to, investigate and research into this stuff like that at all.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, we've had builders go bust on us before in the early days when we weren't making any money. So like, I'd said we lost 200 grand in the first year. Then we made 200 grand back the next 12 to 18 months and felt like we were, heading in the right direction. And then a builder we were working for went bust and they owed us 100 grand. So then we had to add 100 grand of bad debt back onto the books and we went back being negative again. So it took us a while to get out of that hole. And, like we made a lot of mistakes back then, like this builder missed a payment. We kept doing work for them. They promised they were going to pay, then they missed the next payment. And we needed work at the time. So we just kept going. And then, of course, they missed the third payment and then they ghosted us because they went into liquidation. Administrators took over the business and then they had $300,000 of assets that were going to be liquidated and they owed the ATO $11 million. So the ATO would have got 300K and then...
No, the lawyers could have got 300K.
Yeah, the lawyers would have got that 300K.
And the ATO got nothing, you guys got nothing as well.
I thought it was wild that the ATO allowed them to rack up an $11 million debt.
I want to rack up an $11 million debt.
I know. But the owner had changed all the bank accounts so the ATO couldn't garnish him and then he moved overseas. I can't remember where he was based at. He was based out of Taiwan or something and he when the business was going under, he packed up his family and went back to Taiwan and crazy.
Jesus.
So
that's crazy stuff.
That sucked, and I could sit here and blame him and it sucks, but at the end of the day...
It's always your fault. It's always your own fault.
Yeah.
You didn't do due diligence.
Yeah, and there's plenty of red flags and we just kept doing work. It was so silly. Of course it happened.
I don't know. What can you do? I think we, our species of business owners, we learn from our mistakes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. It didn't happen again.
No, never happen again, right? So I see it myself as a professional failure. Mm-hmm. So I just keep on failing.
Yeah.
My the stuff that we're doing, I just keep on failing until it doesn't fail anymore. Mm-hmm. And then chances are that end product is actually pretty damn good.
Yeah.
That's what I do.
I almost don't look at it as failing anymore. It's just part of the process. And I get excited now. It sounds crazy, right? But when we have challenges in the business, because we've gone through so much shit before, every time we've come out the other side better and stronger for it, something comes up in the business that's it seems catastrophic. I have a sense of excitement now because I know we're going to make it through it and I know whatever's on the other side is even better than before.
It is.
And it sounds crazy, but it as well. Running a business, you just go through so much crap.
Correct.
And you make it out the other side most of the time as long as you're someone who's willing to look inwards and do the work. And so now, it is exciting.
I think we've gone full circles. All the complaints about, stress and anxiety now, wait until you actually run a bloody business.
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
And then it's a million times bigger.
Yeah. Yeah. Matt and I, my business partner, were talking about this. And I think we're so used to it now, that stress and that thinking.
Nothing phases us. Well, what's your sleep pattern?
I've got a young daughter now, so sleep's pretty broken. But I try and get pretty good sleep, and I actually meditate every day now.
Okay.
And that's not something I've always done. But at one point in the business, the stress was really getting to me, and I went to a leadership coach, and he got me onto meditation, and it's really, really helped me think clearly and not panic about some of those problems that are in the business.
Right.
It's really interesting, right? Because going to Forbes Club and talking to the other business owners there and being amongst like-minded people, you realize, once a year, I think I stress the business is going under. We've fucked it all up. We've risked it too far this time and we're going under. And that's just so common amongst all other business owners. You look at other businesses and you're the trajectory just looks like that. You've got it all together. And, looking at the past, it all makes sense. But when you're in there in the moment, every business owner goes through those struggles and those fears where you're we're fucked. What are we going to do?
Your key man leaves, as in your manager leaves. That's a fucking massive stress. Mm-hmm. I think I lost 4 nights of sleep when that happened.
Yeah.
Cash flow is probably the next thing. Oh my God, how am I going to meet the next cash flow, next payroll? Mm-hmm. That's a challenge.
Yeah, for sure.
At the start.
Yeah.
Nowadays it's okay. Chances are you have a small pile of cash
exactly.
Saved up. You should.
Yeah, coming by cash becomes easier and easier as you grow and build a better business, I suppose. But totally agree. I mean, like cash flow is still a stress for us because we're pushing the envelope so hard for growth that we're growing our revenue by 50% year on year. So like the threats to the business become big. Yeah.
Bloody hell.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Wow.
So like, last year we did 20 mil revenue. This year we're going to do 30. To us, it's like 50% growth is just what we've always done. But that's a lot of growth. We're bringing on $10 million worth of new work. And so the risks bringing another $10 million worth of work are higher as well. And so, it feels like we're never ahead, but like we fucking love it. And it's just part of the game now. So like even now, even though we've been around for so long, cash is still a stress. I would say it's probably once a year for about a month, I freak out about cash and I think, we fucked it up. We pushed it too far this year. And then the other 11 months we're fine.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah.
Wow. So, what's the, I guess, next 5 years, what's your plans? What's your goal? Apart from the $100 million revenue, anything else? Like more selfish goals? Like, have you started or you got spending your own money yet?
Yeah, I'd say like, Matt and I have stepped away from the business this year. So we're not involved in the day-to-day at all. We've got people running the business for us, which is really good. So Matt and I are focused on like more exciting things, which is more around the business growth, like, going to China and importing and manufacturing and setting up that side of the business. And also focused on our families. Like I've got a young daughter, she's 18 months old and my wife's due to have another one soon. And Matt's
Congratulations.
yeah, thank you, man. Matt's also got a young daughter. And so, we're conscious of spending time with our family as well. So yeah, in a lot of ways, it's not like we're taking $1 million out of the business every year for ourselves, but we're taking time away from the business and spending it with our families. So, I want to make sure that we're growing the business, but I'm doing it sustainably for my family where I'm present with my family, but also, creating a good life for us as well. And so that's a tough balance.
It is.
It's a
and
very
for
tough
those
balance.
people that are struggling, or at the start of their career, don't aim for that.
No.
That's
We
like when you,
Yeah.
when you're like set, and
Yeah.
then you start, thinking about family, spending time with family, and all that stuff.
Yeah,
When
once you've been garnished by the ATO and you've taken out credit cards to make payroll and your builder's gone bust for $100K and you've worked your ass off for 7 years, then we can talk about balance.
Yeah, but before that, don't even think about it. That word just doesn't exist.
No, it doesn't. And it still probably doesn't really exist. I'm really lucky. I've got an amazing wife and she's really understanding. Like I'm here in Sydney away from her and my daughter at the moment for a few nights, and she's pretty heavily pregnant, but she holds down the fort and she knows that it's all for a good purpose, and we're building an amazing life for us and our family. So I'm very lucky.
One question: how important is a good wife in your business journey?
Yeah, so important. I think it's one of the most important things, and I probably almost take it for granted some days because I'm used to having her, but it's not like. I talk to some business owners and like they can't go on business trips or they can't do what they want because they're weighed down by, the weight of their relationship, and it's not like blaming the wife or the partner. It's like they just have a toxic relationship and that leaks into the rest of their life. So yeah, I feel blessed. Like I met my wife 5 years ago and I knew she was the one straight away. And
wow.
Yeah, and she's been amazing. And it's not to say we don't go through struggles, like we definitely do. Like we're a very normal couple, but she's someone that I want to do do with, and
Does she work in the business or somewhere else?
No, she doesn't. She was actually used to work in the construction industry as well, coincidentally. But she's stay-at-home mum now, which is really amazing. And which, it was a big transition for her as well to put her working career by the wayside and transition to being a stay-at-home mum. But yeah, she loves it.
Who cares? Don't need with a rich husband. Don't need a
Yeah,
don't need a job anyways.
Yeah, exactly. I think it was like a guilt struggle for her more than anything. It wasn't that she doesn't love spending time with our daughter and doing that sort of stuff. It was more like a guilt of like, oh well, who am I if I'm not working for the family? But it's like motherhood is a fucking full-time job. It's hard.
Yeah, it's a beautiful job as well.
Yeah.
And I don't think, our society celebrates it enough. Like, I'm of similar age to you, and I see my friends, they're like mid-40s, well, actually not before, like early 40s, late 30s, woman, childless. And I'm like, dude, like that's pretty sad.
Yeah.
Right? And I don't know.
It's an amazing thing. And I feel like you can't fully appreciate it until you have a child. Because there was a period in my life where I thought I wasn't going to have kids until I met my wife, and I met her and like I just knew straight away, like, she was going to be the mother of our children one day. Like, she's just such a nurturing and caring person. And like, I immediately was like, this is the person I want to have children with. And it is like just so much more rewarding than I can ever explain, having children. And so like, it's something that I didn't think I would do. And I think that came from a selfish place from me. You know, I was looking after me and I wanted to live my dream life. And I can absolutely do that while having kids. And it motivates me even more now. Like, I fucking love having a daughter. Like, she's just the best thing ever.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Anyways, let's wrap up.
Yeah.
Last message for the business owners, the entrepreneurs, the people that are starting up. Like, what would be your single most best advice?
Every problem in the business stems from you as a business owner. So if you're sitting there blaming your team or blaming, you know, the government or whatever it is, at the end of the day, it all comes back to you as a business owner. And so look inwards. If you want to fix problems in your business, look at yourself first.
Oh, that's powerful. And it's actually very true. Like, I can attest to the same thing as well. Everything's your fault.
Yeah.
I think our society, we put on, maybe it's an entitlement mentality. We always just keep blaming people. Even our legal system, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, you know, I tripped, I'm going to sue you.
I know. Yeah.
I'm like, what the hell?
Yeah, you tripped.
You tripped. Like, the hole didn't just appear.
Yeah.
I mean, you bloody tripped.
Yeah.
And then you're suing me. Well, it never happened to me yet, but like, chances are it's going to happen. Like, the bigger your business, the more people are going to come for, you know, what you have. Like, I'm prepared for it. Like,
Yeah.
I know it's going to come.
Bring it on.
Bring it on, yeah. I'll fight you.
Yeah.
But it's funny. It's funny how that happens, but that's powerful. But on that note, Adam, thank you.
Thank you, man.
And I know you're flying back literally after this.
Yeah.
So, you know, enjoy a trip, enjoy a family, and thank you.
Thank you, man. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Take care.
Cheers.
That was good.
That was good.
Oh no, he's telling me. No, if you like this podcast, okay. If you like this podcast, go and watch our other videos. Is that cool?
Like, share, subscribe.
No, who cares about like and share, subscribe? Just go watch our other videos.
You know what's crazy, right? I'll tell you right now, but don't stop filming. Those CTAs, the call to actions, it sounds crazy, but they make a big difference.
Is it?
On my reels, if I say follow along for more, I get so many more follows than if I don't. Like,
Yeah.
it sounds crazy.
Is it? I'll do it now.
Yeah.
Follow us. No, follow us for more content. Is that cool? Follow us for more content.
Yeah.